Good morning, my dear students. Today, second lecture in the topic ecosystem I am going to take up, and it's on the ecological succession. Now, what do you mean by the term ecological succession? See, the ecological environment and ecosystem is going on changing as the time is progressing. See, you could have seen a pond. You could have seen a pond with water. But will this remain as a pond with water for a longer duration? No. It will be there for, say, near about 20 years or 25 years. After that, slowly it becomes a terrestrial situation. See, by what is known as, there will be what is known as deposition of the soil will be there. All the dead organisms, the dead plants, animals which are living in that area, everything will be there. Silt formation will be there, and then slowly it is getting filled up. And then over a long period where the pond was existing, you won't see a pond at all. If you happen to live in an area where there is a pond in a village, if you go out of that village to take up your higher studies and all, and then return back to your own native village after 10 years, you will be seeing a lot of changes, particularly in the water bodies. It is getting eliminated very fast. That's one of the sad affairs which is happening in India. So, a pond environment, a pond ecosystem is not remaining as a pond ecosystem permanently. So, the ecosystem is going on changing. What is there as a barren rock once upon a time, that is becoming a forest. So, all of a sudden, one fine morning you won't get a forest in a particular area. It is not by a Jibuba method. So, it is only the erosion of the rock materials is taking place. They slowly get corroded, and then finally the one organism is invading the other organism, and then a forest is established in that area. So this is what is called as succession. So ecological succession is a very interesting topic in ecology. An important characteristic of all communities is that composition and structure constantly change. In response to the changing environmental conditions, human inhabitation, changing lifestyle of the man, so many factors are there operating behind this. This change is orderly and sequential. That's very important. It is not a disorderly change, and it is also parallel with the changes in the physical environment. Okay, so ecological change, ecological succession is a constant change taking place in a system, whether it is a forest ecosystem or a pond ecosystem or a river ecosystem, whatever could be the river system is. And we have studied, have you not studied in geography, that so many rivers have existed in our Tamil Nadu before about 5,000 years back or 10,000 years back. A number of rivers which were flowing, they are no more now. They are no more there. All these rivers, it completely changed. We have lost that rivers, and then one river is getting merged with the another. So many changes it's taking place at an environmental level. So this change is an orderly change. That's what I mean. This change finally lead to what is called as a community that is in near equilibrium with the environment, and that is called as a climax community. So there are two types of climax communities are there: hydroxyle and aeroxyle. The gradual and fairly predictable change in the species composition of a given area is called as ecological succession. So what is the ecological succession? You have to understand only one word if you want to understand the succession very clearly. It is a constant change. Constant change is taking place in ecosystem, and then it is getting modified slowly, then finally it is resulting in what is called as a community. This community could be of two types, namely the climax community, two types, namely hydroxyle and xeroxyle. This entire sequence of climax communities that successively change in a given area are called as sales. Succession is hence a process that starts where no living organisms are there. These could be areas where no living organisms ever existed, say barren rocks, or in areas that somehow lost all living organisms that existed there. The first one where no living organisms are there, that is a barren rocks. If a change is taking place, called a primary succession. While some organisms existed, but now it has gone, and then change is taking place in that. That is called as secondary succession. So succession I am dividing into two types, namely primary succession and then the secondary succession. Succession of plants. Based on the nature of a habitat, whether it is a water means hydroxyle, or dry area, it is called as a xeroxyle. So, based on the nature of the habitat, whether it is a water or it is on very dry areas, succession of a plant is called as a hydrarch and or xerox, respectively. Hydrarch or hydroxyle is the change taking place in a water body, and a xerox or a hydrarch or hydroxyle. Similarly, xerox or xeroxyle. This xeroxyle is what is taking place in a dry area. Hydrarch or hydroxyle succession takes place in in wetter areas, and the succession series of progress from hydric to mesic conditions. Mesic. In between the hydrophyte, and then you have got the xerophyte, and in between that you have got the mesophyte. So meso means middle. So I got mesa. It is from that word. Mesic. So hydric to mesic conditions, as against this, xerox succession takes place in the dry areas and the series of progress from xeric to mesic. So mesic condition will take place in both. From hydrarch to xerox, while it is proceeding, it will go via mesic. The xeric, when it is going towards the hydrarch, it will pass through the mesic. Hence, both hydrarch and xerox successions lead to a medium water condition called a mesic, neither too dry nor too wet. See how beautifully it is getting changed. Zonation of aquatic vegetation, hydrophytes along a pond and along the river banks. Note the changes of vegetation with water depth. So, in a pond vegetation, at the bottom of the pond, you are able to see algae like Cara. So Cara, they are living at the bottom, or most of them are floating. And then you have got at a shallower area, you have got the what is known as nymphaea plants. Nymphaea plants, Sagittarius. And then you have got a myriophyllum also. Myriophyllum. And then you have got the Sagittaria. And then mostly it is coming to the bank. It is about 1 or 2 feet shallow water here you have got. Then you have got what is known as Zamaria, a wet area. It is Zizonia, I think. It's a wild type of rice. These are all grasses, wild type of grasses, from which we have got a modern type of rice, sorghum, triticum, etc. All these are food grains that we are eating today. They have been derived only from the wild grasses. They were grass once upon a time. Okay, so some wild rice type, it is growing in the bank in the river. Then you have got what is known as the saprogonium, and then finally at the exact at the bank you are able to see that type of. See, so that is how the slowly you are able to see a change from a hydrosere to the level that basic condition, which I was discussing. So in a deep flow, this is the point where they have got a water body up to this, and this will have different modes of life. Their structure, function, everything will be according to that. The water body which is present there, the type of reproduction, everything. So from the Cara to the Nympha, and then come Myriophyllum, Sagittaria, Zinnaria, and then Saproganium, then Typha. It moves in that way, and then finally, in the next stage, perhaps you will be getting a land plant, which is growing on the surface of the land. Complete mesophytic plant you have got now from this area. Finally, and they don't need any more water. So, see, these are the different stages of xerophytic condition. On the exposed rocks, first what happens, you get to the lichens and mosses, and slowly grasses and herbs come there, and then aspen, bark spruce and jack pine come to that area, and then finally you get the white spruce and then the pepper birch. All these trees are very big, very, very tall trees. Finally you are able to get. So exactly how it is happening, I will just explain to you. Just imagine that there is a plain rock, a barren rock. Nothing more than that is there in that rock. But only rock and only rock. So in these rocks, what happens first? It is these lichens which are coming, and then we are first. So they are the first runners in a xerosere. So what happens? They just come and then they grow on this. Okay. So we have got a different type of lichens, fruticose lichens and crustose lichens, etc. Now these lichens have got a special category. They are able to grow just attached. They just remain attached to the surface, and then they also produce a lot of acids, which will be able to slowly corrode the rock materials. And then very small holes will be produced due to the acidic action of the lichens. Then when there is a shower of rain, in these small holes, water will come and stagnate. By the time what happens, the sedimentation is also forming, and then the rock is losing its sturdiness, and then it is slowly becoming the soil also by the time. Then in these small holes, bryophytes start growing, because the bryophytes have got the rhizoids, the smooth wall rhizoids, the pegged rhizoids. They are able to grow very deep into the rock materials. So they also, most of the time, they remain completely, totally attached to the rock surface. They remain mostly attached to the rock surface. And their rhizoids is also able to disintegrate the rock materials. And then finally what you are able to see, you see small holes, pits formed on the surface. And then when there is a shower of rain, of course you have got the water, then small herbs, very small herbs start growing in these places. Herbs of about 5 centimeters, 6 centimeters, very small herbs will start growing. And then these roots will start now disintegrating the rock material. And then slowly the rock is getting disintegrated, and then it is becoming the soil. Then after that, very small plants like herbs, shrubs, and then finally trees are growing in that area. Now, for me to tell this, it didn't take more than 5 minutes. But the whole process is taking place, say, in a time of 10,000 years, not in a day or two. No. I would have explained the xerosere and the hydrosere within 5 minutes or 10 minutes. But the whole process is a long and lengthy process. it takes its own time, say about 100 years or 200 years. So a mountain which is a barren rock will be converted into a very good forest over a period of 10,000 years. So in this 10,000 years, naturally, slowly, slow and steady means there is, they say. So it is like that, very slowly it is getting changed. And then finally it is established as a type of a tropical forest or a temperate forest, depending upon where this succession is taking place. That is so, yes, a barren rock is also becoming a forest. What was remaining as a barren rock turns out to be a good forest. So these are all due to the succession. These are all due to the succession. That's why it becomes a very interesting topic in biology. So when it is, when the other areas in environmental studies or ecological studies is what is called as nutrient cycling. So what is this nutrient cycling? I was just explaining to you. See, in a particular place, first you have got the producers. Okay, producers. These producers are eaten by the consumers. Once again, you have got what is called a first order consumer, second order consumer, etc. These producer as well as a consumer, both of them they die and then they become the dead materials. They get decomposes. Now during this, lot of nutrients are, this is a nutrient, this is containing a lot of nutrition, this is containing a lot of nutrition, this itself is containing a lot of nutrition. So there will be a nutrition cycle in an ecological environment. The cycle is getting, see the nitrogen, which I am going to explain in the slide, will move from one level to the another level. The carbon will move from one level to the another level, as I was discussing in my previous lecture. The energy is not destructible. It keeps on moving from one level to another level. Okay, so everything is in a cyclic form in nature. I am going to explain phosphorus cycle, nitrogen cycle, carbon cycle, energy cycle. So everything is shifting from one level to the another level and then finally coming to the same place. Just like you see, human being, we are born in this world, okay, then we live, then we die, and then you become once again the manure, and by eating this manure only, new organisms are growing, but life itself is only a cycle, everything is in the cycle. So you get different type of cycles. One such thing is a nutrient cycle. The amount of nutrients such as carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, calcium, etc. present in the soil at any given time is referred to as standing state. So in a particular area, the amount of carbon, the amount of nitrogen, the amount of phosphorus, amount of calcium, that what amount that is present there, in that it is called as a standing state. It will be going on changing. When you raise a crop there, the nitrogen may be lost, the phosphorus may be lost, the calcium may be lost, and then you have to add it into the soil in the form of a manure, chemical manure or plant manure in any form. Then the amount now presently, the NPK, the nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus will be more than what it was existing. So initially the amount which was present is called as a standing state. It varies in different kinds of ecosystem and also during the seasonal basis. See, I am describing a nitrogen cycle here. First, a plant grows in a particular place, and at the base of this plant, the root system is there, and in this root system you have got nitrogen fixing bacteria living in the root nodules of the leguminous plants. Okay, so these plants, once again, normal plants are also there. which do not have the nitrogen fixing bacteria, the normal plants. These are the nitrogen fixing plants. So assimilation is taking place. So depending on these plants, some animals are also living. Okay. Then you have got the denitrifying bacteria in the soil. So the nitrogen is moving from one level to another level, and then you have got the nitrates. You have got the nitrates. The nitrites are converted into nitrates by the nitrifying bacteria, and then among the nitrogen fixing bacteria are there. With that, they convert it into the available form, namely ammonium. Ammonification is there. Ammonifying bacteria are there. Then nitrification is taking place. Nitrification is taking place. Ammonification is taking place. So nitrogen fixing bacteria is helping in converting the nitrogen into the different form of nitrites and nitrates in the form which will be suitable for the plants to absorb. So it's all converted into that form. And then finally the decomposers will also be there in an. This is the most important structure. Without the decomposer, ecosystem cannot exist. It only decomposes finally everything to ashes. And then finally from them that another system is developing. So the nitrogen is keeping on moving from one level to another level, and then finally it is forming a cycle. This we are able to see very beautifully in this. Then nutrients, what is important is to appreciate that nutrients which are never lost from the ecosystem, they time and again recycle. That's what I have been telling to you many a times. See, nothing is lost. Nothing is lost. So it is only recycled. The movement of nutrient elements through the various components of an ecosystem is called nutrient cycling. Another name for nutrient cycling is biogeochemical cycle. Bio, plant, animals, etc. Geo, different chemicals, different minerals, different metals, etc. And then chemicals. So they all keep on changing. So everything you can't say it's only the biological materials are getting cycled. It's not the geological materials are getting cycled. No, it's all everything. It's put together. Simultaneously it is taking place. Okay. So it is a biogeochemical cycles taking place in the nature. Nutrient cycles are of two types, namely gaseous and sedimentary. Carbon constitutes a 49% of a dry weight of an organism and is next to only water. So we are going to discuss about the carbon cycle. So its weight is a 49% of a dry weight of organism is there in the carbon. If we look at the total quantity of a global carbon, we find that 71% of the carbon is found in the dissolved form. So 71% of a carbon is in the dissolved form in the ocean. This oceanic reservoir regulates the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So carbon which is seen is in many forms. It is in the form of the carbon dioxide, the gaseous form, and some of them also in the dissolved form. So there are reservoirs of the carbon, and what happens you are going to see. So it is existing in the form of the fossil fuel also. Fossil fuel also represents a reservoir of a carbon. Carbon cycling occurs through the atmosphere, ocean, and through living and dead organisms. According to one estimate, 4 into 10 to the power of 13. So 4 into 10 to the power of 13 kg of carbon is fixed in the biosphere through photosynthesis annually. Just to see. 4 into 10 to the power of 13. 10 followed by zeros. And then change it into 4. This much of kilos of carbon is fixed by the biosphere through the photosynthesis annually. A considerable amount of carbon returns to the atmosphere as a carbon dioxide through respiratory activities of the producers and the consumers. So that much is amount of the carbon produced. Decomposers also contribute substantially to the carbon dioxide pool by their processing of a waste material and a dead organic matter of land or oceans. Some amount of the fixed carbon is lost to sediments and removed from circulation. So, it is a form, carbon is formed due to what activities? Burning of wood, forest fire, combustion of organic matter, fossil fuel, volcanic activity, and other sources of releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So these 5 activities release carbon dioxide into the water: burning of wood, forest fire, combustion of organic matter, fossil fuel, and volcanic activity. So all these activities, they add more carbon dioxide to the environment. See, carbon cycle. So carbon dioxide in atmosphere and in dissolved water, as it was stated in the ocean, 70% of the carbon dioxide is seen in the dissolved form. So it is in the atmosphere also, carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So it is in 2 forms. Now this carbon dioxide in atmosphere, it is returned. How this carbon dioxide is added? First, fuel is one. Fuel is one reserve of the carbon. Okay, and then this fuel, the green plants, they become the fossil and then it becomes the carbon dioxide. Now these green plants, by the death and decay, they add more carbon. These animals, once again by death and decay, and by the respiratory and metabolic activities, they add more carbon. Green plants and animals, of course. Okay. So, of course, these are all the methods by which carbon dioxide is added to the environment. The only source by which it could be removed is photosynthesis. It is the one and only activity. You see the arrows, all are towards this side, all are only towards this side, all the arrows are towards this side. All the activities adding the carbon dioxide to the atmosphere, all our activities are only one activity which is removing the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere is photosynthesis. That's being done beautifully by the green plants. So the green plants during the photosynthetic activity are able to convert the carbon dioxide into water, oxygen, and they are able to purify our atmosphere by removing the carbon dioxide present and then make our environment more healthier. So the components adding the carbon dioxide to the environment is more. Fuel is added. And then the respiratory activity of the plants and animals, it is adding more carbon dioxide. So death and decay of the organisms, they add more carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Finally, they are converted successfully to some extent by the plants, by the photosynthetic activity into the usable form. So this photosynthetic work is beautifully done by the plants. Next one is a phosphorus cycle. Phosphorus is a major constituent of biological membranes, nucleic acid and cellular energy transfer systems. Many animals also need large quantities of this element to make shells, bones and teeth. These are the organs in which more calcium is there. See, many animals also need large quantities of this element, phosphorus. The natural reservoir of the phosphorus is a rock which contains a phosphorus in the form of a phosphates. When rocks are withered, minute amounts of these phosphates dissolve in soil solution and are absorbed by the roots of the plants. So we'll see how the phosphorus cycle is taking place. See, the organic phosphorus, which are all adding the phosphorus to the soil, see, input to the soil by blue color. The loss from the soil is shown in the red color. Component is shown in the green color. Now listen. So what are all the inputs to the soil? Plant residues, they will be adding the carbon, phosphorus. Then animal residues, manures, and then biological substances, they will be all adding the phosphorus. Then which other substances will add phosphorus to the soil? Atmospheric deposition, dust, minerals, fertilizers, etc. They also add phosphorus to the soil. These two phosphorus are added to the soil in the deep sea, and here also it is coming by other sources. Okay, now it is lost from the soil by what mechanism? By the leaching, by different leaching. Then plant uptake, plant is taking more of a phosphorus, then runoff, some amount is being dissolved in the water, and then it is taken away by the runoff water. And this process is taking place by means of weathering. Okay, so the phosphorus is added to the soil by the plant animal residues and by the leaching of the rocks. All these phosphorus are added to the soil, and then they are removed from the soil by the plant uptake, by the runaway water, and by leaching. So these are the methods by which phosphorus is added, and then phosphorus is finally removed from the soil, forming the phosphorus cycle. Now, in the rock minerals, weathering is taking place, a soil solution, and then detritus, then consumers. Then the producers are dependent upon by the consumers, and then the consumers and the producers, both of them are acted by the detritus, and then the soil solution is there. The withering of the rock minerals is taking place, and then it is in the form of a cycle. Now a beautiful concept is what is called as ecosystem services. It's a very beautiful concept. See, when you look at the nature, you just think that, we the people who are now living in the mostly materialistic world, we think that what benefit we are deriving from the nature. No. Of course, the plant is able to give me some fruit. The plant is able to give me some flowers. Some tubers I am getting from, some vegetables I am getting from the plants. What else? What more I am getting from a plant? Nothing. The plant is not doing any favor. Then why should you always be talking about the plant 24 hours? Now, if you just see very deeply into the concept, it's not as you think. It's not the food that you are, it's not the food alone that you are getting from the plant. It's not the tubers, it's not the seeds, it's not the nuts alone that you are getting. 1,000 more benefits you are getting from the plants, which is not going into your mind, which is not being attracted. See the amount of a carbon dioxide that is removed from the atmosphere and then converted into the usable form. See the amount of energy that we are deriving from a plant. Leave alone that. See how when a plant is living in a particular area, then the associated organisms, namely the birds and everything, will sit on the trees. And then the whole thing becomes highly aesthetic. When you in the early morning go and see a plant along with the birds making the beautiful noise, You forget yourself, and then you forget about all the worries. Do you mean to say that eating and dancing, that alone is a life? No. Beyond that, beyond eating, there is a life, and that is what is called the aesthetic life. This aesthetic value we are able to get from the plants. Once you see the plant, once you see the birds, once you see some animals, you forget everything. And then this you will be able to get only in a forest environment, not in a city environment, not in a hurry-burry town. So this we are able to get from the plants. So the plants are doing a lot of service. Now the slides that we are going to see, they will tell you how beautifully these services are being given by the plant. So it's a new topic. You think that you are getting a service only from a waterman or electricity, only the electricity people are coming and doing some service. Some mobile companies are doing some service so that you will be able to talk all the 24 hours in the mobile. You think only in that angle. How much of a service is being done by the plant? You just think, you just see. See, what are the different ecosystem services? They purify air and water. They mitigate droughts and floods. They are responsible for nutrient cycle. They generate the fertile soil. They provide the wildlife habitat. They maintain biodiversity. They pollinate the crops. They provide a storage site for carbon and other. They provide aesthetic, cultural and spiritual values to the life. A beautiful statement is there. A plant can live in this world without you, but you cannot live in this world without the plants. How true that statement is. The plants can live in this world without you. They have existed. I tell you, for millions and millions and millions of years, the plants have lived in this world without the human being. But you can't live in this world for even a single day without the plants. So who is depending on whom? Just think. Only man is depending on the plant. The plant is not depending on you. You say that I am pouring water, sir, daily to my plant. If I am not pouring water to my plant, it will die. You may think in that angle. God is there to take care of your plants. Please remember. Only you are depending on the plants for your survival, and not the plants are depending on you. See the services that the plant is doing for you. I read once again. They purify the air and water. They mitigate the droughts and floods. They do the cycling of the nutrients. They convert the soil into the fertile soil. They give the wildlife. They give the habitat. They form the habitat. They give the home. They give the shelter for the wildlife. And then they maintain the biodiversity. It is these animals which are pollinating the crops. It is these plants and animals which is acting as a storage site for the carbon. And above all, as I was telling you, they are responsible for our aesthetic, cultural and spiritual life that we are leading today. Without this, there is no life. Your life will become very stale. You will live only after money. See, it is not a life at all. It becomes more materialistic. For how long you are going to live in this world as a materialistic man? If you want to live a real life, get associated with the plant and then lead a very, an aesthetic life. Now, for that, the plants are really useful to you. Robert Catanza and his colleagues have very recently tried to put price tags on nature's life support services. Researchers have put an average price tag of $33 trillion on these fundamental ecosystem services, which are largely taken for granted because they are free. 33 trillion. I just write this number. 33 trillion. Million. billion trillion, that to USD. If you are going to convert it into rupees, once again 65 or approximately rupees. So this much value of rupees you are getting from the plants. This is the value of benefit that you are enjoying from the plant, that you think that it is coming free for you. When you are inhaling the oxygen, then give out carbon dioxide. It is coming to you free of cost. Just think that you have to pay money for the oxygen that you are inhaling. Just think of it. How much of oxygen you have to purchase per day? Just think of it. Your body, when it is becoming very cold, if there is no sun, if there is no solar energy, you have to keep yourself warm. How much of electricity you have to spend for that? You just think of that. You just think of that. In the olden days, people used to get the food also free of cost. In those days, nowadays we are purchasing. So the food, the air, the heat, warmth, everything is that you are getting only freely only from the plants. So this is the free service that you are getting from the plants. You don't pay anything for this. You don't pay anything for your oxygen that you are inhaling. When you are looking at a bird in a forest, you don't pay anything for that bird. When you see a small rabbit running in a beautiful way in a forest, you don't pay anything for that rabbit. These are all the free services that we are getting from the plants and the animals. So they have put approximately a price tag of nearly 33 trillions of US dollars a year on these fundamental ecosystem services, which are largely taken for granted because they are free. This is nearly twice the value of the global gross national product, is 18 trillion. The whole world, the whole complete world is doing a business for only 18 trillion US dollars. All the countries put together today. So the business value is only, GNP value is only 18 trillion dollars. But the free amount that you are getting from the plant, it is a 33 trillion dollars. Just think how much of a benefit we are getting from the plants. I think that will be, that will be able to speak a lot how much of a service we are getting from the plants. Of the total cost of various ecosystem services, the soil formation accounts for about 50%. So much of nitrates, nitrogen, nitrite, ammonia, all these things are added by the bacteria. They are responsible for enriching your soil. Contribution of other services like recreation, nutrient cycle, everything comes to, this becomes a 90%, and nutrient cycle 9%. The cost of the climate regulation 6%, and then habitat wildlife form is about 6%. So these price tags that we put is once again divided into for different services. So what I mean to say is, God has a created, whether you believe in God or it's a different matter. Nature is there in nature. We are a part of the nature. We are a product of nature. We are a component of nature. And if when you think that you are a part and parcel of the nature, and you have to take care of the other components of the nature, that is all the other plants and animals, then your life will be secure. Your life will become more meaningful if you are going to take care of your ecosystem. Otherwise, the fall is not too far off. The human population, the human generation, it's not too far off to come to an end. If we are not going to take care of our ecosystem, that's where we live in. See, man cannot live as a separate entity in this world. Just now I was also telling you, a man cannot live in this world without a plant, but whereas a plant can live in this world very successfully. Very successfully. Any animals can also live in this world without, man. But it is only the man who cannot live on this earth without a plant or animal. So think of your position in the world. Be very courteous. Be very friendly to all the other plants and animals. your life becomes more happier, more aesthetic, more meaningful. Thank you for listening to me.